Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Inside. Today we are looking at Tunnel Rats, The Escape from Terror Cave. It's by Cadaco. It's an electronic action board game, which means there's a lot of stuff that can break. This one features these rat characters. I don't know if that was a cartoon or something. I've never heard of it before, but it's aimed at ages 8 and up. It's Cadaco catalog number 514. And it's designed for 1 to 4 players, which for this time period, having a solo game was actually fairly rare. And I believe this was put out in the 80s? I'll look it up here in a second. I picked this up at a Goodwill for $2. So it is complete, I already checked. But basically there's not a lot to the game. As this picture implies, you could kind of tell this was 80s based on the. Oh, this was 1990. Oh, it says it right there, 1990. Looks a lot more like 85 based on their goofy outfits, but they're playing and they fake happy look. These kids are all probably in their 40s by now. So for 1990, this is actually a little crappy. I expect a little better. But Cadaco usually does pretty good stuff. This is really not one of those games. So let's see what we got here. Alright, so here's your board. And there's your pieces. So you've got 2 pieces of paper in here. One is an assembly sheet. How to assemble the electronic bit. So it's a simple little fold out insert. This is usually what's missing. Then I have a really beat up instruction book on how to play. It's a very simple game, pretty self-explanatory. It's one-sided. It did not hold up well over time. And then there's the little cartoon book. This is like a sort of a comic book thing. If you enjoyed playing Tunnel Rats Escape from Terror Cave, check out your favorite toy store for more games. So it's just a little thing you can send away for a catalog. But this is just a brief little comic book telling the adventure of exploring Terror Cave. It's nothing fancy. It's not particularly well drawn. It's okay. It's got a very 90s, 80s look to it. So this will be missing 2 or destroyed. Then you have, I believe, I'll double check, but these are considered invisible walls. They're just little triangular plastic pieces, and they're transparent, as you can see. There's a whole bunch of them in here. They're nothing to write home about. They're very easily broken. The plastic is yellowed heavily with age, and they're very fragile to begin with. And then you've got your main characters, which are incredibly large. These are approximately 2.5 inches tall. There's the female one, a guy with like a first aid kit, this guy with like an Indiana Jones hat, another one that looks just like him, and this other guy. So there's 5 of those, and oh, there's actually a duplicate. There's only supposed to be 4. So it's 1 to 4 players. The extra Indiana Jones looking guy is just an extra from a different one apparently. And here's the board. The board's actually pretty well put together. It's pretty decent glued down piece. It says Tunnel Rats in both corners, and then they're numbered starting locations, and you just have to go around. It's pretty straightforward. The interesting part is this area is where that temple piece goes. And that is your electronics piece. These have a habit of breaking, especially this back panel is broken a lot. So be careful when you're buying it, because the electronics are pretty garbagey. They're very old. But the buttons will all make this light up. This one does not work, unfortunately. Or I'd show you how it works. But it runs off, I think, a 9-volt battery. So not very... the plastic itself is pretty sturdy, but the electronics do tend to be a little janked up. So that's really all there is to it. The board is pretty nicely done, actually. It is pretty cool looking. But there's not much to this game. This is Tunnel Rats, the Escape from Terror Cave. The fact that there's so few pieces to it is really disappointing. It's not a terrifying cave if there's no monsters or anything. But you get 4 Tunnel Rat figures, 48 invisible wall pieces, the comic book, and the Underground Ruins game board, and this electronics compass. So that's all there is to it. You can kind of see the figures here. I have an extra one for some reason. I didn't notice that before. And it does run off of a 9-volt battery for the electronic piece, so you'll need that as well. But there's not a lot to it. The little invisible wall pieces, those are stupid and garbagey. And I honestly think this game could have been a lot cooler if there were creatures to fight or something like that. But it's a very simplistic game. But that'll do it for this episode. We've seen what's inside, and there's not much there. Thank you as always for watching, and we hope to see you on the next episode.